than you think. The thinker being the one that talks you out, reasons, analyzes, comes to logical conclusions why you shouldn't go there. Or it's going to be scary, right? That's the affirmation. It's going to be scary, change is hard. Is it? Is it hard, or do we tell ourselves it's hard? Is that to buy time? Because then on the flip side, because I see the flip side of people, whether they're 15-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, up to 90-year-olds that I work with, they'll say, oh my God, why did I waste so much time? That was easier than I thought. Because we unpack it, we go there, we look at where the repression is. You know, because you can EFT, you can tap up the yin-yang on stuff that is circling the wagons, basically. Circling, you know, the real core issue. We're really good at it. That's why even with this tapping, I've seen going in this direction where people are tapping on positivity. That's not where the issue is. The issue is in the underlying negative disruption that you don't want to admit to. And that's not a diagnosis well, really, psychology is built on what are you repressing. A spiritual practice is admitting you're repressing and discovering what it is you're repressing and owning it and admitting to it. Because you know that's where the power shifts are. You know that's where the next chapter is. You know where that is the shift in your consciousness, the letting go, the forgiveness, all of those things. And you can want for other people, and I hear this a lot, that's why even on my website I don't take appointments for other people unless they're in a coma, unless they are incapacitated, because the participant has to show up, not that they're showing up because they're doing me a favor or they're doing the other person a favor, because that gets a little in a web of outsourcing the responsibility, the accountability. So with that, I have people that are being prepared to go there. And they know it's going to be a challenge. They know it's going to be a challenge that's an opportunity. But also, I allow people to avoid me for years, until they get to a place where enough's enough. Enough's enough. But even sometimes enough doesn't do it. I've had emails where people are enough's enough, and then when we begin to do the flushing out, they bail. Not on me, but on, I'm not ready, because this is starting to peel away things that I haven't anticipated, or I did anticipate, and that's why I've been in avoidance. So people are ready when they're ready, and you know you're ready when you're ready. And it's different for everyone. It's the same place of when is an addict ready to walk into AA and say, hi, my name is, and I am. It's that same place. And those of you that have had family members that have been suffering from addiction, alcoholism, I mean, that can take a while for people. They could even lose everything before they will go in, or they will die before looking at what they need to look at. And we may want it for people, you may even want it for yourself, but it's really when you are ready. I always say it's like when you're cooked, you know, it's just that perfect moment that even in the delay and the hesitation, there has to be a manifestation outside of you that is repeating in the consciousness for you to look at what you need to look at. And that's part of the spiritual journey, because we get the call, we get the nod, we get the poke, and it's whether we turn that around quickly enough or in our own time. And it's hard to watch for some people with family members. But then I always say to someone, well, if you're observing it, then you need to clear some of your energy for observing their resistance, so that you can accept with compassion that it will be in their time and let that go. Because what is it that you need to work at if you're observing it in another? So when we're working in the more spiritual, the human journey, the human life, your book of life, this lifetime, this carnation, it is, how deep do you want to go? And then that also manifests the teachers that come to you. You know, I've had people that have went and done work, and then they're like, oh, I thought I had let that go. But they had just kind of were in the surface of it, because they really weren't ready 5 years ago or 10 years ago to go to the underbelly of it, the core of it, and take it out by the root. So we all come to this work, and the people that, yeah, I mean, it's when the student is ready, the teacher appears. One of my students is on here, hi Leah, that said to me once, and yes, when you are ready, the teacher disappears. And allows you to sit in your own stuff until you realize. Because also the teacher's not there to police you. The teacher's not there to fawn over you. The teacher's not there to pander to neediness, to the attention. It's there to work with the maturity of the student and develop that maturity, that energetic maturity. Yeah, you're right, Leah. Leah has said here, I don't think we even know how deep these crevices go. Yeah, and hashtag surprised me. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. If you see, you know, I was working with a 15-year-old yesterday. We were doing the teen class, which was, I mean, that's off the hook. That's a whole other video. But when you're a teenager and you don't have the 10 years or 20 years or 30 years to say, there's a pattern of behavior that I have around money, around partners, around relationships, going for my, opening my business, starting my book and all of that. I see a pattern of behavior, but that pattern of behavior, to see the pattern, takes time. And sometimes time that is wasted in the pattern So how many times do you need to see the same character show up in your life because you're not getting what it is that you need to shift? So the teen doesn't have the pattern of behavior. They just have this energetic ickiness. But they are so willing to admit their insecurities, their inferiorities. I'm insecure at approaching this group. I'm frightened I'm going to be rejected. Whereas the adults will avoid that sentence. And they will say that, well, I'm just not included. You know, I don't know why that is. They know there's something icky, right? Because they don't have the sophistication of hiding in language. They just have this honesty that's, I want to be in the sassy group. That's what she called it, the sassy group. Because the sassy group to her was, they were at ease with themselves. They were confident. They were unapologetically them. So she wanted to be part of that group because she wants to be that too. And she thinks that she is, but she knows she has to work on that too. But she was too frightened to approach that group at school because she was frightened of the rejection. And it was just so honest, right? It was just so honest. And as we get older, we become much more, we hide in our, I wouldn't say it was dishonest. Some people are dishonest to themselves, but some are, it's not that they're not honest. They are using a shield not to know. And you said earlier, Leah, we don't really know how deep these crevices, but I think if you just said, this stuff is deep, and I'm willing to go deep and have the courage to go deep, and I'll be okay. You know, I'll be okay. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm willing to see what it is that I need to see. So this is the difference between the teenagers. They are really, and yesterday's class was amazing. They're 15. I started with 9-10-year-olds that helped me write the book over our global lockdown. But they're now all talking about when's the camp? When's the Pause and Joy summer camp or camp that we can all go and learn some yoga, learn our meditation, do our energy on ourselves. But it's that willingness. And as we get older, we become unwilling to look at it with compassionate, playful eyes, joyfulness. Right? That's why it's Pause and Joy. Right? Or you would be nitpicking all the stuff that's wrong, and that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down constantly. And it's a bummer. They use the word bummer a lot. That's the new vocabulary. It's a bummer. And I like that because it's although it's general, it's you can add on, it's just a bummer of disappointment. It's just a bummer of insecurity, right? It's giving us that ability to go, right? Yes, and that is right. Leah has said here, yoga teaches us inflexibility is what causes the aging, flexibility and willingness, but also flexibility of the mind. Flexibility of the mind is important. the flexibility to say, maybe what I'm doing isn't working. Huh? You know, willing to admit maybe something's not working because I keep doing the same thing and I'm not getting results. Whether that's in my business, whether that's in my relationship, whether that's in my ability to manifest, something's not landing. And when you can, oh yes, there's the word, Leah. Well done. You get the confetti. Humility. The humility to say, maybe what I'm doing isn't enough. In a compassionate way, not in a berating way. Maybe there's something so simple. If I just included it, it would take everything that I've done as the mountain, but this is the cherry on top. This is the icing. But that takes humility. You're right, Leah. And also I would go far as to say it is hubris. And in all the Greek mythology and the writings, hubris always gets you. Always gets everyone. And hubris is that false pride that doesn't allow people to ask for help from the people that can actually help, and stop going around people asking them for help that have really no business helping you. And knowing the difference. Because sometimes we get scared. Like when I did yoga teacher training, I did not want to do the one that I got the message on. So I pretended for a month, I think it was a month, maybe 3 weeks, that I didn't know which one it was. So I was going to go around all the yoga studios in Los Angeles and figure out which one it was. Knowing fine well it was the deepest, the longest, the one that was asking more commitment, and also was yoga and Ayurveda. And it was the classics. And in my head, I didn't want to do it because it was asking more of me than the other certifications that were being churned out at the time in Los Angeles. Churning out yoga teachers. And this one was not a churn out. This one was dense, packed, long, 6 a.m. classes, teachings, reading the Bhagavad Gita, reading the Vedas, the Upanishads. But I knew I was doing yoga as a spiritual calling rather than to teach yoga. I wasn't doing it for a certificate to go and teach yoga. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's a different motivation, because sometimes you're just wanting the certification that you can just go and teach. And my intention, that wasn't the intention. So I huffed and I puffed, and I don't want to do it. I hummed and hawed, and then I acquiesced and went. And I'm glad I did, because I also saw that yoga had been so watered down. And the same now is happening in energy work. It's getting watered down. Tapping's getting watered down. The process is getting watered down. And that there was no pranayama, there was no meditation in a yoga class. Poses are disappearing. So it's important for us to know how deep do you want to go. If you really, if your consciousness is asking for that depth, but you have to ask yourself, is this hitting the nail? Is this hitting the spot? I've had people come to me to be reattuned, and I've asked them to do energy on me, and I don't feel anything. And they're like, I kind of thought that, I knew that when it happened the day. I don't even know why I chose to do that with that person, because I was avoiding you. There's that honesty again. There's that admittance, and then we laugh about it. It's like, wow, we're playing hide and seek with ourselves. But when you want to decide that, that's a game for kids. You start to change and shift into this other space, and then other people come into, and if you have a reaction, which we all do, to work that we need to do, that's usually spot on. That's usually, well, if I'm having this, I don't want to do it, I don't want to go there, well, that's probably who you need to go to. Not in a sufferable way, but in a like, oh, I know that this is the solution, and I feel like it's making me nauseous, but there you go. Because it's excitement, right? It's an exciting joy, but it's also, we band-aid it as fear. But it's really, the thrill of the ride. What's going to come up? People know going in with me that they're like, oh, well, I don't know what's going to come up, but I know it's going to be like gnarly, or I know it's going to be like, well, that was shocking. But that willingness is exciting, right? That openness. So that was good to see you all. I wanted to just come on. I'm going to put this on YouTube, and hi everybody on YouTube. And it was good to chat with you. And I'll do another one of these on the teens and tell you a little bit more about their process. And people have read the book that are in their 30s that are written for the teens, 10 to 15-year-olds, and they're like, are you sure this is for teens? I think this is for me. So yeah, it's all a work in progress, and we have a lot of joy doing it, because that's what it's about. It's not about taking it so seriously, because that can get you in a muddle, in a pickle. But having the seriousness to be like, okay, I'll do it. So love you all, and see you soon. Take care. Bye.